Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. And today, look what I've got for you guys. Yes, this is the Ford Escort RS Cosworth in Pacifica Blue. I'll tell you a little bit of story why I actually got this model in the first place, because there is a bit of a story with this one. Well, I actually was lucky enough to buy one of the first 200 Escort Cosworths out the box. Now this was the large turbo with tons of lag. Now, for some reason or another, that particular model I had did have a number of problems with it because it was the first out the box. And in the boot, I had a bag, and that was designed for water, that actually sent water straight through to the engine bay. And it was almost like a Subaru Impreza. You'd have a button on the dash, but obviously these ones didn't because it's a road-going car, and it would squirt water onto the intercooler. Hey, those were the days. Subaru did it standard. Ford, you had to pay for it. Everything was there. All you had to do is connect it all up. It was that simple. Moving on swiftly to this model, once again, it's a very rare car. On the net at the moment, you will find this model at around about £100. Now this is varying from anything from 20 up to £100. Now I don't think you're doing too bad at buying that £100 because you ain't gonna get it again, because these models are totally rare. They did make many of them, and the people who've got them, like me, were collectors. Whether we move on with them or not, I don't know. So let's have a little bit of a close-up of it, and I'll give you a bit of an insight of really what the quality of these models are like, because they weren't that brilliant in their day, but since then the company had been taken over, and obviously they're better quality now than they were. But then we've moved on. We're talking about, this was back in the 1990s, they was originally made. We're in 22 now, aren't we? So that's almost as old as the Escort Cosworth. Mind you, in saying that, is that 55,000 quid's worth? No. In fact, don't bother buying Escort Cosworth, just buy a model. Save yourself a fortune. So let's have a look at some close-up details. So the first thing you'd notice with it is it's got all the nice detailing wheels. Obviously the metalwork. And if you look at a close-up of this particular one, it's even got orange peel. Look, orange peel in the door. Typical Ford, but this isn't a Ford model. So let's have a look at the rear. So once again at the rear, we've got the badges, which look really nice, and obviously the lights, and your bumper and your exhaust pipe. Now the boot doesn't open, but it's what's nice is they've actually got the details of the spoilers. That does help the model completely. Now let's hope we can open the door and have a look inside. There we go. You can see all that nice dash. They've got the dashboard in there as well, which is really clever. And look how small that is. I mean, the detail in that. And then on the other side, and inside you can see like the air conditioning, the gear stick, everything's in there. It is really cool. It's even got the turbo gauges as well. And even on the doors itself, you've got all the handles and everything. It does look the business. So coming to the engine bay, that's the small turbo engine in there. Now realistically, the Pacifica Blue was never made with that engine. It was always done with the big turbo. So this, to me, is a bit of an oddment. But there again, it's toy manufacturers. They don't know what they're doing, do they? That engine bay is well detailed. You've got the engine, which is obviously the later model engine. You can see the airbox. It's got the reservoirs. It's got everything. It's even got the braking parts in there as well. That's lovely. I love that. And then once again on the front, you've got your lights, the badging, your indicators, and your bottom spoiler. That's what I call a lovely little model. And I do think you should have one of these in your collection if you haven't got one. That does look the business, doesn't it? You see all those vents on the top of the bonnet? Well, they're not real, by the way, but they are plastic. So there we go, folks. That's a small look at the Ford RS in Pacifica Blue, but they just call it blue. Now, they are available, as I said earlier, on the internet. It's very rare you're going to get anything brand new. They're always going to be pre-owned now. So reasonably, If you can get that for a ton, you're on the money. But I try and get one like this. Obviously, I've taken this out of the box for your benefit, but it'll go back in the box and it'll be spot on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You can go on the net, and there is people who've had them out and the kids have been playing with them, or they dropped and mucked them around. Now, if you want to get one of those, that's fine, but you really want to keep it in a box. And I will tell you a little bit about UT. Their quality wasn't like I call brilliant. And if you've come across any of the models, now I've got a set of models in my garage and I've looked after them from day one. They're in the right conditions. What I will tell you, if you buy the models with the decals do dry out. So beware of that. So if you're buying any that, like the rally versions, some of those decals may be dried out to the point where they fall off. But never worry too much about it. You can always replace those decals. There's kits out there you can actually make up yourself and basically do it yourself and put it right. But try and get the right one the first time round. It's best. I mean, there's a little bit of difference between that model and this type of model. I mean, the Otto model is like chalk and cheese. Now that's resin and that's metal. There's a little bit of difference. So you don't seem to get the quality in what I call the metal as well as the resin. The resin is, well, it's like an Airfix kit, isn't it? So, but the difference is with the resin models, you can't open anything. With these steel ones, these die casts, you've got to bear with it. They are manufactured in China. If there was swarf left on them, there's still going to be swarf on them today, because they'd probably just spray straight over them. But that doesn't mean to say it ain't the quality. Going back years ago, you didn't have the quality in models. Even going back to Corgi and Dinky, they weren't the best models in the world by quality. But then we'd never worried about it, did we? As kids, we just played with them. Well, there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please subscribe and please share. I do have lots and lots more models to show you and lots more memorabilia. And we'll see you again very shortly on the Crazy Baker channel. Laters! This is the Crazy Baker Unleashed channel. Cars. Honest reviews. DIY. Toys. And behind the scenes of all the crap I buy. Old school memorabilia. Please subscribe and please share. Laters!